Good morning, everyone. May I ask you to find a seat? If you are with a school, please try and find a seat at a table so that you have a terminal that you can use. That would be great. I'll give you just a couple of minutes to get settled, or 1 minute maybe. And there's front row seats for terminals too. Colm, you can have one of those, please. All right, good morning, everyone. I want to go ahead and get started. First of all, I'd like to welcome you to the 2017 Federal Student Aid Conference in Orlando, Florida. I am absolutely thrilled that we have so many of you registered this year. That's really exciting, and thank you for coming. We have a really full day of training for you today and other sessions tomorrow. We're very excited about the sessions that we've put together for you this year. I know that my colleagues and I have had a chance to meet some of you that we've known for years, and then others that we're saying hello to today. Please take time to get to know all the staff. I actually want to go ahead and introduce the staff who are here from FSA. I'm absolutely thrilled that we have our new Chief Operating Officer, Dr. Wayne A. Johnson. Wayne is going to take over in just a minute and welcome you officially to the conference. So we are very excited that he's here today and has taken the time to do that. We know that you've always appreciated having our Chief Operating Officer come and say hello in the past. And then I want to introduce all the staff that we have here from Federal Student Aid, starting with my colleague Mike Stein. And then all the FSA and Ed staff are actually sitting in the first row of the seats. Mike Frohler, our Director of Multi-Regional and Foreign Schools team, just waved. I've already put Mike on notice that since he didn't come last year, he has to answer all the really difficult questions this year. And Andy Hagedorn and Carla Johnson, there you are, Carla, okay. Wood Mason and Barbara Davis. They're going to be doing the COD hands-on training, which follows this one. And then we have a really exciting announcement from our OIG audit team. We have Mark Preby and Amy Bales here, and they're going to be talking about the new foreign school audit guide. So. The only problem is Jeff Baker retired last year, and as you know, those of you who've come for a while, he got that question every single year. So it's really a shame he's not here to be able to defer his answer to our official OIG audit team. I'm going to turn you over to Wayne now, who's going to make some opening remarks, and then Mike and I will be back. We are going to make you do an icebreaker. We promise it's an easy peasy short one with a sweet ending. Thank you, Wayne.
Good morning, and thank you, Marcy. It's a pleasure to be here. It is early in the morning, and many of you travel many miles, and I was talking to a woman from London, and she said she got in last night, still trying to deal with the jet lag, and I certainly know what that is all about. I'd like to start off by saying internationalization of students is probably one of the highest things on my priority. Before I came to Federal Student Aid, I was fortunate enough to be engaged in a business where we brought students from other countries to the United States to attend schools, and it was really heartwarming to see just the internationalization that would occur on campus when somebody had the opportunity to meet somebody from a foreign country. For myself, I must confess that I was 30 years old before I even knew how to make an international phone call, and the world has certainly changed. Now, that did change subsequent to that because I became the person responsible for Visa worldwide for all the marketing, and so when you're doing that job at Visa, you certainly get to go to a lot of countries, meet a lot of people, open up new markets. But I never will forget the first experience that I ever had when I set foot in a new country, and just the eye-opening, awareness that, what comes upon you as you understand that there are different cultures, that there are people that are warm and embracing no matter where in the world you are. And the fact that we have the opportunity to send, United States citizens, students to other countries is incredibly, incredibly important. There's probably nothing that I think that we can do to foster goodwill throughout the world than to have an exchange of students and an interplay of cultures. And the ability to have our students welcomed in your countries just is amazing. So for that, we thank you. I don't know if you're aware, but collectively right now, we spend, or we invest, is the best way to look at it, more than $1 billion a year to have U.S. citizens attend schools in foreign countries. We'd like very much, with your support, your engagement, and carrying the good word about what we're willing to do to embrace students in other countries, we'd like very much to increase that amount to $2 billion a year. So really it all boils down to how effective the recruiting effort, how effective the awareness generation process can be in order to get students to other countries. So please, carry the word, let everyone know far and wide that we would like very much to have additional schools accepting of U.S. students. So thank you. I never will forget the first time that I had the opportunity to work in Argentina, and this came up last night when we were preparing for this conference. I was asking what the schedule was going to be today, and they said, well, we're going to start at 8:30 and end at 9:45. I said, well, that sounds like a typical international workday, because I never will forget, I was sitting in Argentina about 4 o'clock in the afternoon after having flown in that morning, and everybody said, well, we're going to start the meeting at 8:30. And I naive me, I suspected that was 8:30 the next morning. Little did I realize they were talking about 8:30 that night. We didn't finish until 11. So anybody that has an idea that there's a siesta in Argentina is sadly mistaken, I can promise you that. So that was a real eye-opener. And I struggled through and I got through it to the next day, but what I found is they started at 8:30 in the morning and they ended about 10 o'clock every night. I liked it so much, I went down there and lived for 4 years, so I could say that it's something very, learned it firsthand. We're fortunate that we have 166 people registered for the foreign school session, representing 27 countries. And some of the countries represented are Denmark, Canada, Greece, Egypt, Antigua, Lebanon, Italy, Israel, Mexico, Ireland, France. I guess they like Israel so much they put it on here twice. Germany, United Kingdom, Spain, Poland, Italy, Sweden, New Zealand, Dominican Republic, Costa Rica, the Netherlands, South Africa, and Australia. And I guess somewhere in here should be England. Oh, the United Kingdom, correct. So again, thank you for coming. Thank you for investing your time. It's an incredibly important thing. As you well know, that this session was requested, and we are going to definitely make sure that this continues every single year, and hopefully it will grow, and hopefully it will grow in numbers and also schools engaged and participants. So please spread the word that this is going to be a worthwhile experience. I want to thank, on a first-hand basis, Marcia for the great work she does. Mike Friola, I got to tell you, I saw Mike in action with what happened with the hurricane, and I don't know if many of you are aware, but through Mike's efforts, we were able to do a lot of tremendous good for the foreign schools, also the regional schools. We even went so far, and it's probably not well known, that we allowed and facilitated in just a short period of time an entire school to relocate from the Caribbean to England and continue their classes and continue their Title IV funding. We also have, for the first time ever, basically sanctioned that a university can set up shop on a cruise ship, which they promised us that they wouldn't take the cruise ship out to the waters, that they'd keep it docked at the port. But, we can move with incredible focus and incredible heart when we're challenged to do so. And at one point in time, you probably are aware of this, we had 2,000 of our 6,000 United States universities and colleges shut down. We had millions of students that were desperate for their financial aid. We had billions of dollars in flight, and we were able to satisfy each and every student, each and every situation without one iota of disruption. So I'm incredibly impressed with the team that I've inherited the opportunity of working with. So without further ado, on behalf of the United States of America, the United States Department of Education, Secretary DeVos, who you'll have an opportunity to meet tomorrow, we welcome you to the United States, and we thank you for being here.
Thank you, Wayne. I'm really excited that Wayne is so supportive of international education. That's really exciting for us to hear as employees of the department, and I know that in meeting some of you this morning and catching up with some of you that you are really thrilled to have the Foreign School Day back, which we have not had since 2011, and I'm thrilled that we now have a commitment to have it going forward as well. So Mike Stein and I, we want to do a quick icebreaker with you to kind of just get you moving a little bit and interacting with each other. So what I want everyone to do is to stand up. And what we want to do is we thought it would be helpful for us as the staff and also for you to have an idea about the level of experience of those of you in the room. We know we have people who come every year. We also have people who kind of get handed the job and don't have any experience at all with federal student aid. So what I'd like to ask you to do first, anyone who has less than 1 year of federal student aid Title IV experience, and anyone in here who is a contractor or a consultant or a third-party service or attorney, would you please sit down? Okay, so this gives us a good idea that we do have quite a few people in the room who really have zero experience. Okay, your turn.
So next, if you have 3 years or less of experience in federal student aid, please sit down.
How about 5 years or less? Okay. 7 years? Sorry, I took Mike's turn. 8? There's a purpose to this. We're trying to get to a number.
I'm trying to whittle you down.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Still got a little bit. Is that about? How about 9? Who do we lose if we ask for 9?
10?
Are we there?
You're not looking for volunteers to do a workshop, are you?
You have to give the rest of the training for the day.
Yeah, we're going for coffee.
That's right.
You're in charge. Okay, all right. I think this is a good number now. So what we want to do is we're going to do 2 things. We are going to put the people who are still standing on the spot. We're going to ask you, actually, I'm going to, can you grab that mic? So Andy and Carla, if you wouldn't mind, Andy and Carla, let me give you a mic. If you can start on either side of the room, and we want every person who's left standing, we'll start on this side. Give us your name, your university, and the school that you are from. And that's all the information that we need from you. Now, what I'm going to ask Wayne to do, I already put him on notice yesterday. Since we're singling you out, we're actually going to reward you with candy. And Wayne has graciously graciously agreed to hand it out. So.
And what I said was that we'll give you a little candy to go along with the $1 billion. And by the way, I have been sometimes called Santa Claus, so this is my opportunity.
Manny, can you turn this mics on, please? Are they on?
We on?
It's on?
Is it on, yeah? Okay, good morning, everyone. My name's Steve Anderson. I'm from the University of Westminster in London.
Here's your candy.
Thank you very much, Santa.
Hello, my name is Folo Loade. I have worked for the Royal Veterinary College. I can never say it properly. I've worked there for 17 years. And I've been in student finance for 11 years. When it used to be paper, I used to fill out a form. So this is where we are. It's a good place, and I'm loving it still, I think.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Steve, one quick question. What's the most fun thing that's ever happened to you in your job?
What's the most?
Fun thing that's ever happened to you in your
Oh,
job?
God.
And be prepared.
Put me on the spot. What, in terms of US loans?
Anything.
Well, we had one US student who came in, very nice lady. She was very good because this is back in the day when it was all paper forms, and they used to send us piles of checks, co-payable US dollar checks, that we used to have to sort out and give to students, and this poor student got delayed with her payments. We actually gave her the check, but she put it through an English bank, so it took like 6 to 8 weeks. So we had to help her out financially while she was waiting for the payment to clear. And she kept weasels. Was it weasels or stoats? One or the other. Ferrets. She had ferrets, and she had them shipped over from the States because she was missing them. So they had to go through quarantine, and then she brought the ferrets in to the college to show us one day and to thank us for helping keep her and her ferrets alive while she was waiting for the payments.
Did they get out? They did. Anything fun or memorable from your standpoint? And if you say pass, that's okay too.
There's just so many memories, we haven't got time.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Who's the next one? Okay. Back over here. Hello.
Hello, I'm Lynn Conroy. I'm from Ben Gurion University of the Negev in Israel, and I've been working with financial aid for 17 years. The fun thing?
Fun
Well,
or interesting?
I can't really think of anything except the fact that I don't remember student names.
Okay.
And I had 2 students who were totally different in every way, and I kept getting them wrong. And I'm going back to the time of paper loans.
Right.
There was one student who used to pop into my office on a regular basis and say, Lynn, can you just check something up in my file? And I'd bend over the one way to get to his file. The other student's file was right on the other end. And he'd say to me, you got it wrong again, and bye, and disappear.
Well, as long as they eventually got the money, that's all that counted. We got a gentleman over here. Thank you first.
I'm Frank Hoffmann. I'm coming from Leipzig Cadet School of Management in Germany. Doing this job now since 2004. Very interesting.
Well, thank you for being here, and here's your candy.
Thank you, Sandra.
It's not as good as the German candy, but I think it'll be good. You're so close to Switzerland, you got good chocolate. What do we have back this way?
Hi, I'm Lenice Pimentel. I'm from the American University of Antigua. The most interesting thing would be switching from a domestic school to a foreign school. Most rewarding was this recent graduation. I worked the graduation robe room, and the students that you don't even remember whose life you touch when they're jumping on you and saying, this is our moment, we did it, is just the most rewarding thing ever, because they actually remember what you did or how you scolded them or disciplined them or told them, no, you don't need that, and they're grateful. So that's the most rewarding.
That is fantastic, and that's something we all need to remember. We touch people's lives. We make people's lives different, and you're there, the ones doing it firsthand.
Hi, good morning. My name is Victoria Luna. We are from Universidad Iberoamericana, Dominican Republic. Well, we have been working for financial aid for 20 years. For us, it's a pleasure, and we are very pleased that you give us the opportunity to be able to work with U.S. citizens and provide education through our university. So we're very pleased, and thank you very much for taking that
Thank you
into
so much.
consideration.
We'll swap it out here. Hello.
Hello, my name is Grace Cochon, also from Universidad Iberoamericana in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. And this program for us is a challenger and interesting every year.
Muchas gracias. I don't know why they limited it. We had more candy in here. Oh. Okay. All right.
Hi, I'm Pam Goodwin from Dalhousie University in Nova Scotia, Canada. I've been in student loan world for over 20 years now. I think the most interesting or exciting thing that I've experienced, we had a student one year from the Ivory Coast, and he came and actually we called his father in Baghdad to take this boy back because they sent him with $1,500, period. Because of his heart, his passion, his desire, this kid made it through the first year. We don't know how, but he did make it. And at graduation time, we had a dad who was so shocked that his daughter graduated from university and was so pleased with sports that she got from Dalhousie that he gave a scholarship and wanted it to go to a student from Africa. And could we come up with any names? And we had 1 hour to do it. And of course, this young man, because of his heart, his passion, and his desire, he came to our minds. So I think that was the most exciting thing. And he graduated and he excelled and is on the marks for med school now. So I think that was the most exciting part.
Fantastic. And everybody in here has these kinds of stories and many, many, many more. And as I occupy this job, every day I get letters from people that are thanking us for what we've done. I certainly get letters saying, could you help relieve my student loan debt? And I guess Congress is working on that, but it's just really, really amazing what we can do when we've got, $150 billion at play every year. Hopefully, $2 billion go into foreign schools in the future, Mike. And we'll take it here.
My name is Deb Chenoweth, Burman University, Alberta, in Canada. I've been with U.S. student loans. We've been approved, I think, 19 or 20 years for U.S. student loans. Actually, mine isn't about a student. One of the very, very, very first times they ever had a foreign school breakout session, I don't remember where we were. It was a teeny tiny little room in the hotel, and there were a bunch of us all jammed in there.
You've grown.
and it was very, very good. And the presenter was going through, we'd just gone to the direct loan and said something that we should have. And I said, really? And the presenter put his fingers in his ears and went, la, 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 la. And I thought, okay, I'm not. He says, I don't want to hear that. Okay. So it was pretty good. I love these. You find out all kinds of things.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Where should we go next here?
Good morning. My name is Margie Shep, and I'm the Financial Aid and Awards Coordinator for Concordia University of Edmonton in Alberta, Canada. So I have some Albertans here with me, and Pam's my go-to on the eastern side of Canada. I've been in Financial Aid and Awards for 12 years, and the first thing my supervisor did when I started my job was sign me up for everything. And I've been doing it since the first 3 years I didn't have any U.S. students, and now I do. So I think the fun thing for me is when I go to a basketball game and my U.S. students wave at me when they see me in the stands.
That is fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Now, what's even better if one of the players on the field waves at you.
Good morning. My name is Catherine Hallisey, and I'm from the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, Canada. I've been working with financial aid for 11 years, and I think the most memorable thing for me is just getting to meet the students for the first time when you've been helping them for a few years, or you recognize people's names and you recognize them and they're like, who are you? So that's always really fun.
How many U.S. students do you have?
This year we have on loan, about 350.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful part of the world.
Yeah. Thank you.
And is this our final
This is our final
contestant?
Hello, everybody. My name's Randy Venner. I work for the American University of Paris, and I've worked there since 1997, so it's going to be soon 21 years. I think the most fun that I've ever had has been, of course, at past FSA conferences. But I think something very memorable, I remember I worked with a student who was not supposed to come. He had some problems with his loans, problems with his parents' credit, and I worked through the weekend, and finally he ended up coming. And on the other side, I had worked with another student, mostly with financial aid. She wasn't American, she was from another country. And they ended up meeting, and they got married, and they have 2 kids now. So that we talk about changing destinies. That was definitely changing destinies. I don't know, hopefully for the better.
Well, it adds a whole new meaning to Americans in Paris. Anybody else? I still have more candy, but I'll return it to the stage.
I'm just wondering, I know I've already met Rachel this morning, and I did say I would single her out because she literally has 0 Title IV experience. She just got the job. So Wayne, Rachel is here in the front row. I think she deserves candy for being brave enough to take us on. Do we have anyone else in here who has almost no? Okay, Andy, can you just... So Rachel is from the London Film School in England. Just say hello, Rachel.
Hello, everyone.
And Rachel, why did you take this job? Because you got to come to Orlando.
Because I got to come to Orlando.
That's the real reason.
Definitely. That's why I'm here.
That's right. We're up here too. Thank you so much.
And who else had their hand up? Okay, just Carla's going to give you a mic, and if you could just tell us your name and where you're from.
Good morning. I'm from, my name is Lori, and this is Rada, and we're from Lebanon. And basically, we have like 21 years of institutional aid, but we just got thrown at this job. We had a U.S. citizen financial aid coordinator in our New York office. She got a different job, so she moved. So we're here.
Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Do we have anybody else? Oh, brand new. You got to stand up.
Do I have to stand up?
No, please.
Hi, my name's Katie Biblick. I've worked in student sport for quite a few years. But my colleague Marie has worked a good deal longer. And I said to her, I think I might want to do this. And the next thing she said, do you want to come to the conference with me? So I said, yes, please.
Well, welcome. Glad to have you here. And you never knew that you'd get a bag of candy. Anybody else? One more. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Claire.
And this is good because I have one last bag of candy.
Oh, perfect. I've been in the job for a few weeks, and I've talked to Master on the phone, trying to get access to everything. I'm from Massey University in New Zealand, and along with 2 of my colleagues here as well. So.
Well, we have a good contingent of folks from New Zealand, so it's a pleasure. Mike, these are folks, whatever you need from me to help support this group, let me know. Thank you. And I return the bag, and for another season, Santa Claus is finished.
Thank you, Wayne. You made that really fun by asking them to tell a personal story too, so I really, really appreciate that. The reason we wanted to do that was we wanted to have a chance for you to kind of not meet exactly, but know who your colleagues are in the room, where they're coming from. So now you know who the experts are in the room. So if you have a chance to actually meet them in person, that could be really helpful for you in going forward. We do have some more serious things on the agenda today. That was really fun to do the icebreaker and introduce Wayne. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Mike, who's going to talk about the agenda and the sessions that we want you to go to that are not part of the foreign school track. And how are we doing for time? Okay, I think we're fine for time. We do want to take questions at the end, so if you could save your questions until we finish, that would be great.
Good morning, everybody. I am Mike Stein. I work on the Foreign Schools team at Federal Student Aid in the Program Compliance Division. And again, I just want to welcome everyone to the conference. By a show of hands, how many of you is this your first conference? Okay, quite a few. We get quite a few every year. So welcome. We hope that you find today and tomorrow and the rest of the week useful and that you receive the training that you need. This first session is really light. It's a bit of an orientation. We might speed through some of these slides, which we give every year. It's an overview of the Foreign Schools team and what we do. But we definitely want to save time for Mark and Amy to go over the new Foreign School Audit Guide at the end and entertain questions. So we'll be talking about some recommended sessions, method of payment, what activities does our team engage in on a day-to-day and week-to-week basis, and then again at the end, leaving time to discuss the new Foreign School Audit Guide. Right. So hopefully everybody spent your long flights studying the schedule and mapping out the sessions that you want to attend, or better yet, downloaded the FSA conference app to your favorite mobile device. It's a pretty nifty app where you can actually build yourself a digital schedule. But if you're looking for some ideas of which sessions to attend, we have a few that we recommend. But again, by all means, you know yourself, you know your schools, so please go to the sessions that you've identified. Today, this is the only game in town, so if you're not here, we expect you've wandered poolside or possibly over to Disney. So we have a full track here today, like Marcia mentioned. Likewise, tomorrow from 1:15 to I believe 5:45, we have 3 foreign school track sessions in the America Seminars room just down the hall. And in the morning, we recommend that you do attend the general sessions. The first session will be the keynote speaker, the Secretary of Education, Betsy DeVos, and then also the federal update that we give every year. If you're looking for some ideas about breakout sessions, the breakout sessions are generally offered multiple times throughout the week. So if you have time on Tuesday and certainly Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, you might want to consider these sessions. The first one is about the regulatory requirement that a school has a quality assurance program in place to ensure that it is meeting the program requirements and objectives. Professional judgment is always a popular topic. We gave a session about that last year during the Foreign Schools track. So if you need a refresher, you might want to go to professional judgment. Administering disbursements is all about the flexibility and restrictions in dispersing Title IV aid. So it'll cover topics like credit refund balances, the interaction with G5 and COD. It'll talk about early and late disbursements, so that's a good session to go to. Basics of determining academic calendars. I would say this is one of the more common topics that comes up in our one-on-one conversations with schools during the eligibility process, as well as questions that we receive here at the conference. How your academic calendar is set up really impacts how Title IV aid is administered, so this is a good session to go to. The regulatory relief listening sessions. So some of you may know the department is taking a look at its regulations and is working towards relieving schools of the unnecessary regulatory burdens. So we are looking for ideas and guidance from schools about regulations that should be repealed or replaced or modified, especially those that are unnecessary, inefficient, or impose a cost greater than any benefit it might convey. And so I know from past conferences we have received some very spirited feedback in that regard. This is a session you might want to go and provide that feedback. Perennial favorites are cash management regulations and how to detect and deter federal financial aid fraud. If your school offers modules, you might want to consider going to how modules can affect Title IV administration. And then for those of you who raised your hand, if you're new to financial aid or this is your first conference, you might want to consider going to the financial aid boot camp for new financial aid directors. Okay, with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Marcia for a few minutes.
Thank you, Mike. We have here the chart for the U.S. Department of Education. As Wayne mentioned, our Secretary, Betsy DeVos, will be here tomorrow. So I hope that you'll have a chance to go to the general session and hear what Secretary DeVos has to say. The stars on here are for the offices that we work with the most closely at the department. I'm having a hard time reading that too, even with my new glasses. So we have the International Affairs Office. Of course, they are tasked with welcoming international visitors to the department and coordinating that for the Secretary's office. And we have the, I'm going to have to look. Excuse me. This is awful. I can't, okay, bear with me. So we have our Office of General Counsel. Of course, they're our attorneys. That's who we go to when you have tricky questions about our laws and regulations, and we need to seek guidance from them. We also go to our Office of Post-Secondary Education. They are tasked with formulating the regulations that you all have to live and breathe our programs by. And we will have Greg Martin here for the panel on Wednesday. For those of you who are new to the conference, on Wednesday afternoon, late afternoon, we have the Q&A panel where we invite people from various areas of the department to participate with us. And that's when you get to ask all your questions. Greg Martin, lots of you know, he was a training officer and he's now working in the Office of Post-Secondary Education, and he's going to be here on Wednesday. He's a very good resource for us and also for you as well. Should have had Mike just read them to me, shouldn't I? Our Office of Inspector General, of course, there are two areas within the OIG office. The audit team, which we've already mentioned a couple of times because we are absolutely thrilled that we have a new foreign school audit guide that will be available sometime next year, I believe. And also the other branch of OIG are tasked with investigating fraud. So for those of you who are new, we don't have huge issues with fraud at foreign institutions. However, we sometimes have people who are not students trying to figure out how to pretend that they're a student at a foreign school. And so we want you to all be mindful of seeing anything that doesn't make sense to you. We've had people fraudulently create emails. One person was actually impersonating Mike Stein and sending emails to a school saying that this particular student needed money immediately, and he wasn't actually enrolled. And because that school official had come to training and knew Mike and had been to the conferences, was aware that this didn't sound right and reported it to us. So that's another good reason to come here. You get to know us. So if you get an email from someone and they're pretending, and you don't think it's actually us, then you need to let us know. Any other issues, you should also report as fraud issues to the OIG office. They, as I said, are tasked with investigating. I did that one. And then our Chief Financial Officer, we don't really work with them that closely, but they're tasked with managing all our money at the department. So Federal Student Aid is an office of the Department of Education. You all had a chance to meet Wayne this morning. We have several offices within Federal Student Aid. We have our PLI, Policy Liaison Office, and we will have Cynthia Hammond here on the panel on Wednesday to answer questions for us. We have a Technology Office, Customer Experience, Risk Management, Finance, and Performance Management. We actually have 1,400 employees within Federal Student Aid. I didn't realize that. I thought we were a bit smaller until some information came out a couple of months ago. So we're based in DC, but we also have regional offices that stretch all the way across the US. And in addition, we have these other offices we work with: administrative services, acquisitions, business operations. They probably are the office that we work with the most closely. That's where Wood is from, and also Barbara, and they're going to be presenting next. And program compliance, that's where we're based. We already introduced you to Mike Froehler, our Director of Multi-Regional and Foreign Schools Participation Division. Just some interesting data about the participating institutions. We have 5,512 domestic, 396 foreign institutions, which is why I was so thrilled that we had a registration this year of 166. I know we have some of you coming from the same school, but that's still an amazing turnout, and we're really excited about it. As Wayne said, it's over 1 billion, 124 billion in funds that go overseas to your American students who are doing full degree programs at your institution. That's a substantial amount of money, even though Wayne said that he would like to see it increase to 2 billion. So I guess we've all got our work cut out for us. We're going to have to figure out how to train you, and you're going to have to go and find lots of new schools to participate and students. So the majority of the funding on the foreign schools team goes to our for-profit medical and veterinary schools, and then the least amount goes to the nonprofit and public institutions. So we have 396 institutions, as I said, from 37 or 38 countries. 24,560 US students go overseas every year. Foreign school default rates, as you know, we track the loans that go into default at your institution, and we assign a rate to you. The draft rates go out in February, March, and then they are published in final in September. You have time between February and March to review those rates and to challenge anyone that you see on that report that wasn't actually at your school. And now I'm going to turn it over to Mike, who's going to do the next couple of slides.
So within program compliance, each team is really responsible for a few core areas, including eligibility, audit, program review, and another area called method of payment. So what method of payment refers to simply is the way your institution receives Title IV HEA program funds. According to the Higher Education Act of 1965, the Secretary of Education has the sole discretion on how a school receives Title IV funds. And there's really three ways in which a school might receive funds: through the advanced method of payment, heightened cash monitoring 1, or what commonly called HCM1, heightened cash monitoring 2, or reimbursement. Under the advanced method of payment, which is probably what most schools here participate under, and is how you enter the program. For foreign schools, I thought it's a records first method of payment, which means that as soon as you successfully submit an origination record to COD, then the funds become available in G5 for drawdown. Under heightened cash monitoring 1, your institution is actually required to make a disbursement to a student either by crediting their account or using institutional funds prior to drawing down from G5. And in some cases, your auditor may need to comment on your compliance with that procedure at the end of the year. Heightened cash monitoring 2 and reimbursement are both reimbursement methods of payment. And under those, a reimbursement method of payment, your school has to disperse funds to a student, either using institutional funds, and then actually submit a reimbursement request to the department. We have payment analysts on our team who will then review the paperwork to ensure that the student was eligible for those funds and that the Title IV funds were administered properly. And then they will actually create the payment in G5 and push it to your school's bank account. It's important to remember that these are all just tools that the department uses to mitigate risk to Title IV HEA funds where there is a possibility that there are any issues with administrative capability. There are other activities outside of the core areas that we commonly participate in. So we do coordinate closely with our school onboarding with federal loan school support teams. So this would be Wood Mason in the back, Matt Staples, and those colleagues. If you are a school that just began participation in the program or possibly was recently reinstated, you know that participation doesn't begin as soon as the eligibility application is finished. There's actually quite a bit of work that you need to do to get set up in our systems, COD, banking information, and G5. We also, from time to time, publish electronic announcement and updates to our foreign schools information page on IFAP. We monitor and also update the International Schools page on studentaid.gov, and that's a student-facing page. So it's where we provide information to students who are considering studying overseas. And then SAG enrollment transition refers to a project that was really completed at the end of last year, where we, if a school is signing up for our SAG services, you now go through the CPS SAG. We regularly conduct data analysis and consult with our policymakers. So Marcia already mentioned our Office of Post-Secondary Education. They write the regulations, so we regularly seek guidance for them, from them about those regulations. If you're a participating medical school or have a medical program, you might be aware of the National Committee for Foreign Graduate Medical Education and Accreditation, or the NCFMEA. This is a committee of doctors that is appointed by the secretary, and they review the standards of accreditation used in different countries to determine if they're comparable to those used in the United States. And that's a key eligibility requirement for foreign graduate medical schools. And then, like you, our work can also be audited by the OIG or the GAO, the Government Accountability Office. And when that happens, we usually have to provide answers and documentation to support our decisions and our work. We regularly provide one-on-one institutional assistance services. So many of you will call us directly. If we've worked with you in the past and we have a working relationship, you will also call into our main line or send an email. And we regularly answer questions regarding programmatic or institutional eligibility. And if we don't always know the answer, we'll find someone on our team or the department who does. And then we also publish and make available self-paced online tools on IFAP, like the Foreign Schools Assessments or the FSA Coach for foreign schools. All right. And with that, I would like to invite Mark and Amy up here to discuss the new foreign school audit guide.
Hello, I'm Amy Bales. This is Mark Preby. We are with the OIG non-federal audit team, and so we are part of the team that does assures quality for non-federal audits, and so that is looking at audits that cover Department of Education funds. And so the main thing that we do is quality control reviews, which are reviews of your auditor's work for your audit. So we will go out and look at their work and make sure that they're following auditing standards and the audit guide. We also provide technical assistance to auditors or to schools if they have audit questions, and then we are responsible for updating audit guides. We do both the domestic and the foreign school audit guide. Domestic, we do the proprietary school audit guide. So that's kind of our responsibilities. We have a team mailbox. There's the email right there on the slides. Those are for, as I mentioned, audit questions that you have. That's the best way to get in touch with us. So you can go to the next slide. Oh, can I do that up here somewhere? There we go. Okay. So as mentioned, we are in the process of updating the foreign school audit guide. So it has been a while since that's happened, and we hear that that's welcome news. So we don't want to go into too much detail because it's still in draft form, but there are, of course, updating statutory and regulatory requirements that have happened since the last guide. And so probably be those that are effective July 1, 2017 is what our goal is, to update it to up to that point. So I know there's not been really changes recently, but what we're doing is we're taking the domestic proprietary school audit guide that was issued in September 2016 and adding or removing things that are applicable to foreign schools. So we're working with that more updated guide rather than starting with the old foreign school guide that's quite a few years old now. So if you're interested in some of the changes that happened in that, we're doing a session on that audit guide, session 36. So that will go into some more details if you want to see what might be coming your way. But in general, the standard engagement is changing from an attestation engagement to an audit. There are attestations and audits, and within attestation and examination is the highest level. It's the closest to an audit, so it's not a big step to an audit, but there are standards that your auditor has to follow for each one. So and then the other kind of major change is the change to presumptively mandatory requirements, which are basically all of the procedures in the guide are things that your auditor should do unless it doesn't apply to your school, or if doing the procedure that way isn't effective in meeting the audit objective, and they would have to then do some other procedure and document their departure from the audit guide. So once issued, it'll be available on our website, and there's a link there to our website. As mentioned, we're hoping next year that it'll come out, but there's several levels of review that has to go on before that can be issued. So that's all for now.
Do you want us to stay up for questions? Yes, if you want to, that'd be great. Thank you. That was really good. I also want to I also want to mention that when we have the new audit guide, there will be a link on the IFAP Foreign Schools page, so you'll be able to just go directly to our. Did the lights go out? Oh yeah, they did. So you'll be able to go to the IFAP Foreign Schools page to link onto the new audit guide, and I'm sure that we'll have an electronic announcement going out. I'm going to ask Wood to come up here now because Wood and Barbara are going to be doing the next session, and I think Wood has some information that... Did you want to do it now, Wood? Okay. Yeah, there's some information on protocol for the hands-on sessions that are coming up, so we'll do that now. That way, when you come back for the hands-on session, you'll understand what the rules are, and Wood and Barbara can just get started with their presentation for you. If we have time, we'll take a few questions at the end, but I do want to make sure that you get a break so that you can get coffee or whatever you need to come back in here for the next session. Thanks, Wood.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. It's Monday. We got to attack the week positively here. What we want to say briefly is that when we come back, we're going to be doing some hands-on stuff in here, like the class's title, hands-on. We want to make sure, though, that we don't cross any PII, personally identifiable information lines, if you will. In other words, we don't want anybody to be viewing any PII that they shouldn't be viewing. Not that anybody in here would, but we just want to make sure that that doesn't happen. So if you're at a computer terminal here or a screen, we want to make sure that, one, you have a token that you can get into COD when you need to. And if you've forgotten your token, we will show you how to get a temporary token so you can get into it, okay? And two, probably more important, we gotta make sure that if you're at a terminal, you are sharing that terminal with somebody from your school, in which case you can share the information that you pull up during the hands-on sessions. But if you're not with somebody from your school, that gets kind of dicey. And we don't want that person that's not from your school maybe seeing some of the information they shouldn't see from your school. So we want to make sure that to the best of our abilities out here, that you're sharing a terminal with somebody from your school so that there's no question about crossing that PII line. Is that okay with everybody? Everybody okay with that? BD? This is your turn now, if you'd like to say something.
Can you all hear me okay? I got it pretty, okay. So, how many of you forgot either your hard or soft token? There you go. We are going to show you how you can go and retrieve one for this hands-on session. So we'll do a demonstration of that before we cut you loose on your computers. How many of you don't even know what I'm talking about a token? Okay. You will be able to watch our demonstration, but you won't be able to log in and practice. Okay? And I think that's all I wanted to say, except one more thing, which I always do. So Wood and I are married, and I don't think he probably told you that because I did not make him a pecan pie for Thanksgiving. For Christmas, he will get a pie, but not for Thanksgiving. There you go.
Great, thanks Wood and Barbara. So Mike Frohler wants to, as I mentioned, Mike is our director of the Multi-Regional and Foreign Schools Participation Division, and so Mike has a few things he wants to say as well. We might do Q&A afterwards. It kind of depends on how you feel. You're going to have lots of opportunity to ask questions from us, so if you don't have questions immediately, then we'll just close up so you can take a break and come back in here all excited for Wood and Barbara's session.
Thanks, Marcia. As some of you may or may not know, I wasn't even supposed to be here. One of my peer division directors from our Philly office got sick, and so at the last minute, they asked if I would come. And I always enjoy coming to this conference. I enjoy meeting the foreign school members that come all the way from all over the world, and I find it always very exciting, but with limited travel and stuff, that was the way I wasn't planning. However, some of you may or may not know, I know my staff knows, my wife is one of these Disney fanatics. She plans, she knows where to go, where to eat, and I still remember when the first time we came, I have 3 kids, years ago, and I heard, it was like 4 in the morning, and I hear talking in the house, so I said, what's going on? So I get up and I walk down there, and my wife's on the phone, 6 months prior to when we were supposed to go to Disney, making dinner reservations and lunch reservations to eat at the park, at the restaurant she wants to eat at. And I was like, are you crazy? Nobody does this. And she goes, I didn't get a reservation at 2 of the places. I go, you mean there's other people like you doing this? They were literally 6 months prior, she was on the phone scheduling. So needless to say, when I found out I was going, and I said, hey, I have an opportunity to come to Disney. Do you want to come? And you can, stay at a hotel and go to the park without the kids. And she jumped at the opportunity. So she's spending the whole day at Magic Kingdom, walking around, doing the rides, and just having a good old time. So I always think it's, worked out well for her. She's excited, and and her birthday's this week, so it's like I got a huge, a lot of credit for her now. That for her birthday, she got to go to Disney by herself. Some of you may be asking the multi-regional and foreign school participation division what that means. When I first became director of the foreign school team division, that was all. We did foreign school work, and one of the areas that when I came on, the director, my boss of the school eligibility service group is Ron Bennett. And Ron wanted to consolidate a lot of our large for-profit, publicly traded schools that run on run national school chains, and centralize those schools where I work in DC, and so that we can work on those huge universities, provide better customer service in areas like that. So they came under. So that's what the multi-regional side. So when you see the multi-regional side, that portion, we have about 50 people on the division, and about 39 of them work on the multi-regional side. And we oversee large for-profit names you probably heard of, like University of Phoenix, DeVry, schools like that, to name a few. And so they are completely different environments. So my day goes back and forth. I often have my foreign school team dealing with the foreign school issues that are unique to foreign school. Then I have the multi-regional side, which are dealing with the multi-regional schools, which are, and they're a lot more in different environment, very politically sensitive, so we work in those too. So my days are always very interesting because I get to work on multiple areas, and I enjoy it. One of the big things we work on this past year that Mark Buskell, who many may or may not know, Mark used to actually be a financial aid director at a school in New Zealand, and is now the compliance manager for the foreign school team. And so he has not only practical knowledge, he actually of working at a foreign school, and now he works for the department. So he's a great person for this job, and he's done a great job. One of the things we've been focused on is eligibility work. I know there's an eligibility session coming up, but I want to say that's been one of our priorities the past year. Some of the things we were able to do that we weren't able to do in the past is recertify schools for longer periods of time. That has helped us tremendously on balancing out our workload. We were recertifying schools provisionally every year, for a maximum of about 3 years. So every school was constantly being cycled. Now we've been doing full research, and that a lot has to do with the schools, who have been able to provide us clean applications with timely submissions of your audits, up-to-date policies, and that enables us to turn around and provisionally or fully certify you for 6 years. So we've been able to now balance the workload. We're still not there yet. We're not where we want to be, but by the end of this year, we are committed to get all our old research processed. We're going to be working to process faster, and we're moving forward. One of the things that will help us get there that unfortunately is a session. Actually, I looked in the book, and it's talked about IPM. There's a big canceled sign on it. It's kind of sad. I know we have no official response yet on where we are with IPM. It is a major system change to how we operate. And for foreign schools, it's going to be leaps and bounds difference. And the biggest thing is it's all electronic. No more paper audit submissions, financial audit submissions, no more applications that won't come in through e-app systems. These are revolutionary for you and will help us process. I estimate we'll get at least a 30% efficiency in our processing. I mean, no more chasing signature pages. I mean, I don't know how many times that we've had applications ready to go, and we don't have that signature page. Either it got lost in the mail, or it got misplaced, or whatever. Those kind of little things back everything up, and they take a lot of time. If all that's electronic, all that's e-signatures going back, I personally countersign every PPA. And so, we've done probably, I'd say almost half the schools have been recertified in the last 2 years, which is a great testament to the foreign school team, been able to move the work along. But the problem is, as we move forward, I'd like to see that process go faster. I'd like to see the schools get better responsiveness because we're not waiting around for paperwork, and I think IPM is the key to doing that. So when it's ready, it'll be ready, and I look forward to it, and I think that will help us organizationally. I think it'll provide better customer service to our foreign schools. The other area we're just working on is audit submissions, which is a continuous issue, tracking audits because it's still paper. I know when I first became a director, that was a big issue. A lot of people were getting complaints because letters were going to their president saying their audit was missing, and then you had evidence showing that we receipted it. I'd like to say that we've worked really hard. I know Mark has worked extremely hard trying to get that issues fixed. Unfortunately, we're still having problems there. We've constantly working to improve it. The receipting process is not the program compliance team. We actually have, that process is separate, and the audits are initially reviewed by the contractors. And they, getting the audits in paper from us to the contractor to score them, and then back to us to review or to close is still, we're still going through, it's taking too long, but we're working on it. And one of the things we officially did was we ceased sending bad letters out saying you didn't do something when we haven't, and that's where you may be getting more and more schools, maybe getting calls from people. One of the staff on the foreign schools, Jorge, one of his full-time jobs is to, if there's an audit not there that should be there, he's supposed to be contacting schools. So there's no negative letters. We're trying to work to getting communication first to determine whether the audit was missing and why it's missing. And if it's something where it's been submitted, we will work to get it in and put into the system before, so that we can get it moving through the process, because we feel like the issues are not it's not the school, some of it's on us, so we need to work to make that better. So that's about all I have, and I just wanted to add. And welcome to ask. Anybody have any questions for me? I know there was a quick Q&A. No? I'll be here all week, so feel free to come up and talk to me if you have any issues. I'll turn it back over to Marcia.
Thanks, Mike. We're really close, actually, to when we would give you a break anyway, and so unless there are any really pressing questions about next steps, maybe you'd all like to break a bit early and grab a coffee. For those of you who haven't found the restrooms yet, they're out this door, turn left, and they're down on the right, I believe, but there are also restrooms available through the back door. So again, based on Wood's information that he just shared, if any of you need to reshuffle around so that you don't see the PII is private identifiable information for those of you who are not familiar with that term. And also, again, just would ask all the people who are not associated with a school, if you are at a terminal, we really want to make sure that our foreign school officials have this opportunity to work on a terminal. So thank you for coming to this first session. It's been great to see all of you, and we'll see you back here at 10.